Good evening and welcome to the Wednesday evening Vespers. It's been quite a day today, but I'm going to try to put that out of my mind for a few minutes and play some music for you and do a couple readings and a poem. My name is Glenn Mehrbach. Reverend Tom is out of town this weekend, so here we are. Those were both by composers who preceded Stephen Sondheim, who I'm going to do a reading from his book, Finishing the Hat, right now. At the beginning of the book, there is a glossary where he expounds on different subjects about his art. And this is the entry on finding your voice. At a Museum of Modern Art retrospective of the work of Piet Mondrian, I was walking along a small passageway, on the right-hand wall of which was a series of small studies of a cow, painted over a period of time. And as I passed through the hall, I saw the cow start slowly to distort from painting to painting, then splinter. When I had turned the corner, it had lost its cowness altogether and become an abstract design. And a little farther into the gallery was Mondrian's iconic Broadway Boogie Woogie. In short, I had watched an artist in increments discover a style and find his voice. This may very well have been the curator at work, but I knew that what I was seeing was the truth. And I started to wonder if Mondrian knew what was happening to him. Most artists begin by imitating and find their own voice incrementally, as Mondrian did. Certainly, that's what happened to me, and I'm arrogant enough to believe that my experience is not unique. Oscar Hammerstein had urged me to write for my own sensibility, but at that time I had no sensibility, no take on life, on the world. My voice stuck up on me. I started to develop an attitude in Saturday Night, a laconic lyrical style in Gypsy, and a structurally experimental musical one in Anyone Can Whistle. They all came together in full-throated fruition in company. I heard it at the Sitzprobe, the rehearsal where the orchestra and the singers go through the score together for the first time. Oh, I thought at the end of the opening number, that's who I am. From then on, I could afford to try anything because I knew I had a home base that was mine alone, and that would inform everything I would write, good and bad. speaking of Stephen Sondheim, at the epilogue of the sequel to Finishing the Hat, which is called Look, I Made a Hat, he talks about a poem that he feels is his favorite poem of all time, the one he had wished he had read many years earlier in his career. It's by a woman named Phyllis McGinley. She was an American author of children's books and poetry, specializing in humor, satiric tone, and the positive aspects of suburban life. She won a Pulitzer Prize in 1961. And the poem is about Richard Brinsley Sheridan. He lived from 1751 to 1816. He was an Irish satirist, a playwright, poet, long-term owner of the London Drury Lane Theatre, and he was also a Whig MP for 32 years in the British House of Commons. He is buried at the Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey. This poem is called Love Notes to a Playwright, and I think at the beginning of this year, when we're all making resolutions and trying to focus on doing good things and not getting distracted, this is pretty good advice. Love Notes to a Playwright by Phyllis McGinley. Perhaps the literary man I admire most among my betters is Richard Brinsley Sheridan, who, viewing life as more than letters, persisted like a stubborn Gael in not acknowledging his mail. They say he hardly ever penned a proper yours received and noted, but spent what time he had to spend shaping the laws that England voted, or calling on his comic flute the tune for Captain Absolute. Though chief of the prodigious wits that Georgian taverns set to bubblin', he did not answer please remits, or scoldings from his aunts in Dublin, or birthday messages, or half the notes he begged an autograph. I hear it sent his household wild, became a sort of parlor fable, the way that correspondence piled mountainous on his writing table, while he ignored the double ring and wouldn't answer anything. Not scrawls from friends, nor screeds from foes, or scribble from the quibble lover, or chits beginning I enclosed manuscript under separate cover, or cards from people off on journeys, or formal statements from attorneys. The post came in, he let it lie. All this biographers agree on. Especially he did not reply to things he had an RSVP on. Sometimes for months, he dropped no lines to dear ones or sent valentines, but polishing a second act or coaxing kings to license freedom, he let his epistles wait. In fact, they say he didn't even read them, the which some morning seems to be a glorious blow for liberty. Brave Celt, although one must deplore his manners, and with reason ample, how bright from duty's other shore this moment seems his bold example. And would I owned in equal balance his courage, and of course, his talents. Who, using up his mail to start an autumn fire or chink a crevice, cried, letters longer are than art, but vita is extremely brevis. Then, choosing what was worth the candle, sat down and wrote The School for Scandal.
Thank